Alright, so this is the tutorial to make a Galaga style game. In this first section I'm just going to discuss how to set up, just go over the graphics that I have here so that we are good to go. Okay, first off, when you go to make it, just make sure that you do, file new, or it'll come up, and I would just choose Air for Android. You can do Air for iOS, but if you do that, well, you can switch it after anyway, but I would just do for Android because that's what we're going to be doing in class. You just do that and hit OK, and it'll give you, roughly this shape. Now, I'm just going to show you what I have here. So I have a background layer, which is basically just this background, which I apparently turned off. But literally it is, let's back this up a little bit. It's the same picture. You see, what I did is I just took this and I put it up here. So basically it's the same thing repeated twice. And then I'll open it up so you can see. And then all I did is I just animated it going from the top to the second one, and that way when it starts over again it will be in the same spot, so it'll loop continuously without you really noticing. So if I hit Control Enter or Command Enter, you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, and it'll just keep looping and you won't be able to tell, so that looks fine. For the player, I just have this generic graphic. There's nothing all that special about it. I just animated this little guy jumping up and down. It's not that exciting, but I would tell you to make something a little bit more exciting, if you may. Come on, get down here. Okay, something a little more exciting than what I have, but that's what I got right now. So I got a player, I got a background, right? They're each on their own layer. And then I also made a bullet, and then I did a shot of the bullet. So I made a bullet graphic, and then I'll just show you, because this is what's going to spawn. So basically if I double click on it, see, it's just an animation that happens over 1.5 seconds, that it goes up, and then the last frame here, you'll see, the last frame, I make a blank keyframe so that it disappears. And then I also added action script that says stop. So basically it'll just play once and then it ends on an empty frame. So that way you can shoot it and it'll be gone. I won't have to worry about it. Okay. So that's the shot. Let me just delete that. And then I also have this enemy, and it kind of doesn't do anything all that special either. I would suggest making, nicer looking graphics here. Basically he's just going to move down on you like that. Okay, and we're going to spawn them up here randomly, and they're going to come down, and then we're just going to shoot them as they come. Okay, that's the basic idea of it. Oh, actually, you know what? I didn't even do this right. Well, I can show you an example of what we need to do. So at the end of this, so after 4 seconds, which seems like, see, if this goes 1.5 seconds, let's take this, and I'm going to have it go to 3 seconds. I feel like that's too long. Okay, so on the last frame here, I'm just going to go ahead and let me make this bigger so you can see. On the very last frame, I'm just going to go ahead and insert a blank keyframe. Okay, and I'll just call this enemy. Make another layer, and I'm just going to call this one actions. And I'm also going to put a keyframe here, F6. And then I'm going to go ahead and encode snippets underneath action script, timeline navigation, double click on stop at this frame. And so then you'll see there's a little A there, and I'll get rid of all this extra gobbledygook. And so what'll happen now is that this will go down and it will stop, because I don't want it to keep happening, because otherwise it'll just build up and we'll have like 1 million of them, which is too many. Alright, so that is the lump sum of the graphics. I would try to, I have an actions layer too. We'll try to maybe make something nicer, like maybe have different kinds of enemies, and you can have different ones spawn, and maybe you can have enemies that shoot as well. Down at you, that's another option. Things like that. You could get kind of fancy with it, but in our case, I'm just going to go ahead and you can see what we have, and I'm going to call that good as far as like the setup here. Okay, and then in the next thing, we are going to go ahead and start scripting it.